Medvedev revealed the secret of the completely lost money. Hit around the budget like the Nobel Prize of Russian scientists. Nobel Prizes were handed out last week. And they completely undeservedly went around Russia, or rather, our Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. Because his discovery is quite worthy of the Nobel. Dmitry Anatolyevich discovered that money is alive, they have self-awareness, free will, and they can well take and leave. So I see. A thin blonde ruble stands on a hillock, hugs a birch with a thin handle. My dear, also a tree. He looks at our Russian eternally longing and thinks, I'll leave, perhaps I don't have my strength. He throws the knapsack on his shoulder, gets baptized and leaves without looking back somewhere, into the vast expanse, beyond the horizon. So Dmitry Anatolyevich said so to Vladimir Vladimirovich. And then this money seemed to go away, and there was no trace of it. It was the Prime Minister who explained to the President why the government had dealt with health problems since 2006, but it feels like this work has already been done in vain. The quotation marks are Medvedev's words, but not the conclusion of any spiteful critic. But now, it is certain that everything will work out so as not to come back to such questions every 10 years. The main thing is that in 10 years money does not learn to swim. And then you have to state. And then this money seemed to float away, as if it had sunk into the water. Actually, Putin at this meeting also talked about money, about the salary of doctors. It must be fair, it must motivate people to work efficiently, otherwise it will not solve one of the main health problems in general, the personnel issue. However, the Russian people have always been smart. The Ministry of Health Tenston issued an idea. If the money goes somewhere to the left, for some reason there isn't where they sent it, but the personnel are needed, let's hire migrants to the doctors. And really, what's the difference? So you can make out the doctor's handwriting on a prescription? No. So does it really matter in what language it is written there? From another piece of news this week, we learned that our governors are disinterested. The Irkutsk governor Levchenko is generally unclear how he makes ends meet. His salary is 18,000 rubles. The Chelyabinsk ex-governor Dubrovsky fled to Switzerland in general from such lack of money. However, he raised something to the billions by 20. You are laughing, and here it is time to cry. Because Levchenko decided to raise his salary up to 27,000 and everyone pounced on him. But the golden man thinks all about Russia. From my salary, says, the salaries of state employees in the region depend. But they get a penny after all, something needs to be done. By the way, there is a solution. Let's try to do the opposite, so that the salary of the governor depended on the salary of the state employee. We take the lowest rank of the employee. The government sets his salary. And then up. The governor has a conditional 200%, the minister has 300, the prime minister has 400, the president has 500. And in state-owned corporations, they also dance from the salary of a simple worker. In healthcare, from the salary of a nurse, and so on. A pipe idea, but continue forbid dreaming. By the way, more about the Nobel Prize. They drove not only Medvedev, but also Greta Thunberg. The Peace Prize was given not to the girl who was afraid of global warming, but to the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. As we learned that there is a Prime Minister in Ethiopia, there turned out to be a conflict, and now the bloodshed is over. From the point of view of a resident of Russia, where the climate is intended mainly to destroy the enemy, it is quite logical. What warming is there? But it didn't suit eco-activists in Europe at all. How else to explain the Massachusetts protests, blocking roads and tent camps in all cities of the old world? Environmentalists in London, by the way, found a diesel generator that fed electricity to their campground. It is very environmentally friendly to burn a solarium, which is already there. In short, police began to disperse activists. Were softer, just by the arms, by the legs, and were with water cannons and rubber batons. But there it is possible, there it is democratic, because the action is not coordinated with the authorities. Not like ours. Incidentally, it is possible that these destabilizing protests are the work of the GRU. The New York Times revealed a terrible secret this week. It turns out that we have a special unit to rock Europe, Military Unit 29155. Mishkin, Petrov, Washarev and, possibly, Chepigar serving there. I honestly confused who there is who. They rushed through democracies with a large black pistol in one hand and a novice bottle in the other. There is nothing that they could not. But this is such a great secret that even the colleagues of the destabilizers from the GRU do not know about Military Unit 29155, only the New York Times journalists. And at the end of the week the sad news came, Alexei Leonov was gone. For me personally, this is how another piece of childhood died. And if you look at the world reaction, it becomes clear. All these squabbles between countries, accusations, machinations, searches for the guilty ones are so petty. Because there is a vast space and the person who stepped into it. But in order not to end up on the sad, let's talk about the death penalty. In this whole story, with a discussion of the lifting of the moratorium, the role of the State Duma is amazing. Someone there decided to indulge in public moods and posted a poll on the official page. The result was predictable. And immediately the conclusion, here, the deputies with the people. Yeah. Let's complicate the task. We introduce the death penalty for treason, expressed in the form of corruption crimes. And at the same time, we will abolish parliamentary immunity. We've such a poll on the Duma website. But if you enter all this, you see, and the money will cease to leave so that there is no trace left.